It's gone brilliant, and I think that's been the case for England qualifying. It hasn't been a problem. The groups that we've been given, it was a
mentality to win it now. Could
yeah,
be.
That is exactly where we're at. We are now. You like your racing. We've come fourth in a tournament. We come third in the Nations thing. We've come second in the Euros. Now, if you're a horse, you're backing it. I know you would be backing that, wouldn't you? That form, yeah, it's due to win.
Go on, I'll say it. I'll say it.
You can't say it. No, but on a serious note, I think that is the mentality that the group of players have got to now say to themselves: we are favourites. We're one of the favourites. We're always going on the back foot sometimes in England, and I think it's time to get that final. What happened against Italy happened, but we were very close. We didn't get battered. It went to penalties. So now you've got to say, yeah, come on, let's have a little bit more edge about us. Let's put some fear into our opponents rather than us thinking of them.
Is there enough? Sorry, Gab. Is there enough flair in the midfield for you? Is there enough?
I think there's enough flair in our squad.
Or starting 11.
It'd be interesting to know what team, if everyone's fit and on form, you'd play. Because in the final, when I was watching it, I was there at the game, and I was just so disappointed the way we were sitting back with the players we had on the bench. They would have been frightened of us, Cellini and Bonucci at the back.
That I was screaming myself. But at the end of the day, we know what football's like. If we'd have gone 1-0 down after 2 minutes, not 1-0 up, do you think we'd have been on the back foot like that? We've all played in games. Yep. You're losing. The chains come off a little bit. We'd have been going forward. Yep. We'd have had all sorts of things. Now, whether we'd have opened them up and scored and won the game, who knows? But because we went 1-0 up so early, we drop in there too deep. We were playing with the fight. We're dropping. We're getting deeper and deeper. Those two guys, no disrespect, 36 and 37, have both been booked.
Yeah.
And we're
under pressure.
Leave one up. Put somebody on who's got pace to anyone.
Yeah.
Or leave Sterling up and let Harry come and drop in if you want and make ourselves tight. That's all we needed on that day, and I think we win that game. Because they either get sent off, and then what happens when you leave a player up like that as well is those two centre-backs were very much in every move that Italy put in. They were joining in. They were part of the jigsaw. Whereas if you leave one up there and he's on their shoulder, they're suddenly now think, I've got to do my defensive job here. I can't get involved. So you're taking two players out of the possession.
I just remember whenever Kyle Walker won the ball back, it was like there was no one to pass. He was lumping it forward. Yeah. And he didn't want to do that, but he was scared to give it Rice or anyone else because they had so many players pushed in on them. Yeah. We couldn't get out, could we?
You needed a release. If ever you needed a release over the top. Yeah. And that's what was needed with a bit of pace. They would have been scared stiff of somebody up there, on their shoulder. Yeah. And it just needed that. I think Gareth done everything else in that tournament. Yeah. Fantastic. I personally, on the midfield, you say about, I think we've got some unbelievable players.
Well, Rice is coming on.
I think Declan Rice is the best player in the Premier League. He's going to get better and better.
Yeah.
For me, I said off air just to Gabby there, I think Phil Foden in 3 years' time could be the best player in the world. I think with England, the way we play, he's got everything. The boy, he understands the game. I saw him when he was 17, when they won the youth World Cup. He was head and shoulders above anyone on the pitch, and that was against the South American teams. And I said it at the time, he looked more South American than the South Americans did.
He has got a lot, hasn't he?
He can score goals.
Pace, strength as well. People don't realise how strong he is.
Yeah, but Alan, he ends up in the 6-yard box. He knows how to get penetrate into the box. He can score goals from just inside and out. He's an intelligent player. He's
passing as well. He's shown that recently, hasn't he? Well, he's making them passes in behind
the
players.
He hit with his right foot as well. Yeah. He's predominantly left, but he hit a wonder ball, didn't he, before they broke for the internationals with his right foot. I think it was Jesus. I think it was offside. I think VAR gave it offside, or maybe, but it was just, he's got everything for me. So we've got two midfield players there.
What about Jack Glenn?
Jack for me is a wonderful talent.
Does he frustrate you?
I don't think. No, you know what you're going to get from Jack. The difference is, if you look at Jack now, he probably isn't enjoying his own game as much as he did at Villa. Everything
because he's not the top dog and not playing every week.
Well, yeah, but also, Al, he loves to hold the ball. He loves to take people on, but Pep's got him, and rightly so, because he's got so much talent around him. There's times where he's popping it off first time, and he's got to. Yeah. But he wants to take people on. Now, if you know, at Villa, he was the danger man. So if 3 players come over and he's taking people down areas and then popping it off to someone who's then he's created a lot of space for people.
Yeah.
But now at City, if he can do that a bit more, your De Bruyne's and your Fodens are going to get even better.
Yeah, because he carries the ball and he's strong on the ball, isn't he? He gets a lot of free kicks.
At Villa,
he carries it lovely.
At Villa, he could go to the right and get it. He could go and get it off the centre half. He could go and get it off the keeper.
Yeah.
Some games I've seen last season, he was getting it off the centre halves in the defensive half. But obviously, Man City, they're like robots, aren't they?
Yeah.
Pep would be like, no, you don't go there. You stay on the left.
Well, he doesn't need to, does he?
You don't need to.
That's the thing. And I think it is tied him down a little bit. So he's got to adjust his game. But talent-wise, he's got talent. I think he's got to score. If he's going to play in that role and allowed to come in off what I call off your perch and come inside at times, he's got to score goals. He's got to become a real goal scorer.
Yeah.
But you've got to get in them positions. But no, I think he's a wonderful talent. He really is.
Glenn, we're going to talk a little bit more about Spurs as well. What about just in the papers today, Rio says it's now or never for Dele Alli. Dele came from the lower leagues and suddenly people are going, whoa, where has this guy been? He's lost his way a bit. What advice would you give him now? What would you say, arm round him, to say what he's got to do now?
Well, I'd ask him what he thought his best asset is as a midfield player. So I'd like him to actually give me the answer. And if he didn't, then I'd actually explain to him what I felt would be. But I'm pretty sure he'd say, well, I'm a goal-scoring midfield player. That's what I would want him to say.
Yeah.
And that is when he was at his very best. He would pick off where Harry Kane would make runs and he'd go into areas into the box.
Remember that long ball when he took it in one touch and finished? What a goal that was.
Chelsea, was it?
What a goal.
Yeah. That is exactly what he's about. How can I, back in our day a little bit, maybe David Platt?
Yes.
He was a box threat forever. He'd score goals. He was a midfield player.
Remember Belgium?
Yeah. And he had ability, but he wasn't somebody. Dele Alli's the same. He's not somebody that can play deeper for me, and you can play through him. He's got to keep the ball better. But his major asset for me is getting in the box. Now, back then, a few seasons ago, when it was all working, Eriksen was in the side, and that's where I think Spurs are missing out at the moment.
Yeah.
He had probably 3 seasons where he could make them runs, Harry Kane, and he'd find him. And if he didn't find Harry, then Dele Alli was going into the box, arriving in the box, scoring goals. His all-round game for me back then wasn't that much different to it is now. But he was scoring goals and he was a goal machine.
Confidence as well, can't it?
Exactly.
And a run of games as well, what he needs as well.
Yeah. talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.